Good afternoon, everybody. In the process of doing a thing. Not a big thing, but it's a thing. Anyway, hello, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome back to another video. As I said in the last one, with the way that the Peugeot is going, obviously I needed to address it sooner rather than later. So we're essentially getting onto that. Unfortunately, I didn't decide to give it a wash before I got here, because I'm not saying it would have been pointless, but at the same time, the shed's out in the middle of nowhere. I have to go down a farm road. It was going to get manky anyway. Long story short, the reason that I'm doing that is just so that I have some sort of hot water so I can give it just a wee, in that little spot, just give it a wee clean before I start getting to sanding and that. So that's basically what we're doing today. Working on this thing. But that's how we're looking at the moment. Not the prettiest in the world, but it is what it is. It just kind of needs to get addressed. It needs to get touched up a wee bit, and I'm happy to do it. That water seems sufficiently hot enough, so I'm gonna give the sill a wee wash. With the temperature the way that it is outside, doesn't really deem fit to be painting stuff and actually expect a good result out of it, but then again, it's me that's doing it, so I mean, take that as you will. I am going to primer it, that is one thing I'm definitely going to do, and definitely not leave it as long as I did the Corsa, to the point that it starts just to rust again anyway, but we'll definitely be addressing the primer bit. I've double checked the forecast for the next week and it's not exactly looking great, but the thing is that I know for a fact that we can just leave it and it's not going to get any worse with that. So yeah, I did make some minor adjustments with the paint booth, because obviously I didn't really think about it all the way through, to the point that obviously the wind's going to come through from the open area. It's the biggest pain in the rear being in this particular spot is the fact that it just comes all in, and trying to arrange this, it was a hassle, but I didn't want to do it on camera anyway. So looking a hell of a lot better, and this is also looking a lot better as well. I ended up having to re-clean it, but at the same time, and move over kind of one area to another. Managed to make a wee bench out of it, so pretty happy with that. Got everything organized. Oh, and also the point that I didn't actually realize last time, did I knock this spoiler? No. I now have a permanent spot for my light. It's looking, personally, I think, a lot better for itself. Eventually I will obviously get another dust sheet. I just keep on forgetting to get as many as I need. So I have a working bench, and at the moment it does. Look, you can see the wind. Oh, and it's starting to tear already. Yeah, when I came in today, all this was pretty much... Anyway, water's hot enough. I'm gonna get some soapy soup that I picked up from just around the corner. This is not what I'd usually use for doing my cars, especially as a valeter, but the thing is that this was at hand, cheap, and for the amount that I'm going to be washing it, I'm not going to need all this anyway, so could wash that, to be fair, but maybe not with the amount of water that I have. But I can see that starting to give some sort of steam, so I'm gonna get ready. All I need to do first is just jack up the car. I need to make quick work of this. I do have a bucket kicking about somewhere, so right, okay, I'm gonna get to it. Okay, so at this very point in time, here's how she looks. As you can see, not 100% great. It's just slowly kind of inhabited. Lots of water, lots of dirt, and unfortunately with Scottish roads, it's all spot welded on, as you can see from here. It's just a case of, if I was wanting to, or if this got to the point that it was so bad, I would just cut the spot welds out, take the whole thing out. Seeing as I had a day off from work yesterday, because that was the day I was meant to be going to my practice day, I ended up going and using the time wisely, should we say, and went off and bought some more tools. On top of that, I did also get a couple of deliveries coming from online. So it's an air filter bit. This is kind of the thing that holds your mouth together as well as your air filter. And mine from here, well, is snapped all the way along the side of here. So not ideal for keeping readings and stuff. Couple of discs for doing this job in particular. I also got a toe strap for the BMW because obviously the one that I had at the Highland Matsuri snapped. So nice and easy. This will definitely do for what I need it to. Not obviously the final thing that's going to be going on the car for big competition. That's future endeavours. Also bought some stickers just for toe and stuff like that. Just to be eligible to, you know, compete, because you need those kind of obviously signed. So all this is probably going to come out until I actually go to Comeups. Unfortunately, Adam is a busy human being and I totally understand it. BMW was kind of like a side project. Not even a side project, it was just kind of something that he had to do when he had nothing to do, you know. So BMW is still at Comeups, still not managed to get down to go and work on it. I'm still in two ways of thinking that the BMW is going to be ready for the competition on the 23rd and 24th, but it's kind of a race to the, I say finish, it's actually a race to the start. It's still I fell in that water already, eh? Right thinking from Ryan there. Oh, bath mat. This'll do. Bye-bye, creeper. Yeah, creep. Might not be perfect, but at least I'm not gonna get absolutely soaking wet anymore. Dumb thinking on my behalf, but hey, half of it is. So, back to where we were. Peugeot. I was just getting those sand grating discs. Where did I put them? I've lost them already. Oh, they're up there. Grinder, fantastico. Still need to get either a new one or get this repaired, but oh, and especially with water. Do we want to die today? Sure. Anyway, I'm gonna get everything sorted for doing the grinding, start having a wee looky as to what we have to deal with, and go from there. Pretty much sorted, ready for getting on to that. Got all the stuff out of the back of the van. It's all sitting over there, awaiting to go back in to then go to Comeups. For the time being, got my disc on. We have puppies today as well. Hello, pupper. Hello, hello, honey. What you doing, hey? What you doing? Keenan. Anyway, bye. Quick visit. John's next door. He's working away and doing some work of his own. So, anyway, I'm going to get cracking on this. See you in a bit. So, as per usual, what I think is going to be an easy job has just turned into, I'm stuck here until I find a way home. But anyway, what I thought was a wee bit of surface rust turns out not to be so much just surface rust. To the point. We are in a much more difficult situation than I had originally anticipated. Safe to say. Now, there's two ways to look at this. I have a hole in my sill. The car is not really necessarily drivable, and it's going to be stuck here until it's pretty much finished. Now, the thing that I can take away from this, the fact that Adam had recently said to me that he had picked up a new welder for himself, and that I was going to be getting his old one that he'd been using for quite a period of time. We have a welder on the way, a running, working welder that just needs one bit that isn't even a part of the MIG welder. It is literally a hose. Now, I know how to do welding fabrication. This is definitely one of those jobs. Now, I will not be able to do this job until I get the welder from Adam. Now, the thing is that this isn't a big job. It's a much bigger job than I had originally anticipated. but it's not a big job if you've got the right tools. Now, that's a lot. Okay. The other way of looking at it is the fact that this van will be stuck here until this gets done. I can start on actually working on this van, like doing the track rod end, doing the power. You can see it leaking from here. Doing the likes of the power steering line, the brake line that I had as an advisory. I think there was a couple of advisories. This certainly wasn't one of them. Obviously it covered up really well. So with this being done, I have no idea what the state of that one is. I could weld this patch up pretty easily, just small thin strip of metal, weld it in, under seal it, paint it, call it a day, or I could do it properly and actually check to see how badly that bit is and prevent it from rotting any more than it already is. The thing is that this is obviously the worst part of the car now that I can see, so the other side is nowhere near as bad. With that being said, I really wasn't expecting that. But then again, there's a lot of things. These things kind of come at me with some fear surprise, but with this being the case, obviously the van isn't going to be going anywhere for another wee while. It's not raining outside, I don't know why it's dripping. Anyway, so for this time right now, I'm gonna get a cutting disc and I'm gonna just start cutting out a wee plate, so that if I do end up deciding that I just want to get a plate, put it underneath there, then it's all set up for me. Take the under seal off that, start wire brushing away, see if it's any worse than this part here. It's another day in the office. But yeah. Some good news about that, it means that it will end up with a new sale before it gets sold, because inevitably this thing will get sold so that I can actually purchase a tow vehicle. So this car, with its weight and its mass and that for towing capacity, it's not enough to take the BMW, nor does it have a tow hook, so this will at some point be getting sold. It's unfortunate, but it is a workhorse realistically, and hence why it's kind of come to this sort of condition, you know. So, but hey, sound. I probably will end up doing that. So we're gonna clean this up as best we can. Alright, see you in a wee bit. So after a wee bit of after some more cutting, sanding, as it turns out the front wasn't really much better than the rear, so I mean at this point I actually think that we're just as well just to replace the whole sill, which is a bit of a pain because I was really hoping that it wasn't going to come to that. All things considered, it was just meant to be a workhorse, but now yeah, it's become a wee bit more of a project than I had originally anticipated, but as these things normally go, which is fine, just like the BMW, it just needs a hell of a lot more work than I had anticipated, but it doesn't matter, it'll get addressed. So a sill is held on by spot welds by the rest of the chassis and by multiple different parts in that, so all connected by spot welds. Now the thing is that this has absolutely nothing to do with it. This is what our sole focus is, because it is just one long part of metal. So as you can see, there's spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld. The sill, yeah, it stops there, and then it, you know, you can pull out from underneath. But this is the main part, all spot welds along here, one down there, and then spot welds all along the bottom. It's just like a dot to dot essentially, but the end picture that you get is a whole sill coming off the chassis. So very unfortunate, but it's just one of those things that needs to get done. I'll be able to buy a replacement or a OEM sill. Thing is that I don't really see much point in cutting away at this, because I mean there is literally that left of the sill, and everything else is pretty much cut out. So, as well as all the way back here to that point at the very rear, which is actually finally solid. I'll need to check for more spot welds, but there's not even much point in carrying on with trying to salvage the sill. Might as well just to get a new one, which is fine and sound. It just means that I'm going to be without a van for a couple of weeks. So, with that being the case with the sill, I'll start taking away all the spot welds. The rest of the bodywork I'm pretty sure should be pretty clean. I want to have faith that this is the case on this side, because there's no bubbling. There's one bubble. Nope, that's a plastic. So, absolutely no evidence to tell me that this side's going. So we're stripping it down to bring it back up at this very point in time. Unfortunate. It's here for a week or so before I can get all the materials and the welder and that. Parts, tools, all the resources that I need to get this job done, because it's a small job but it's a big job, so it means that I can get on to the littler things on this van, like the power steering that's leaking, the brake line that needs redoing, and a couple of the other bits and bobs that the MOT came through with. List should be around about here. Should be about 10 things needing done on it or something like that, so easily done in a week. But see, when you're trying to build a drift car at the same time, different story. Speaking of the BMW, it will be staying down in Kinnisy until the 23rd, 24th of April, probably, until it's ready for its main voyage out to the Scottish Drift Championship. As I've said, I don't know 100% if I'm going to do competition or if I'm just going to go there to practice with other people, but I have decided that I will be down here about 4 days a week as of next week. So, looking forward to seeing this view a hell of a lot more often. With the schedule somewhat in a rut, it's pretty possible that I could have this done by next week. I don't know how many uploads that means though. Plenty needing doing, especially now. At least all the work that I can say that I've done to the car is done well by the end of it. Done with good precaution and new parts all round. Should be able to make a pretty penny from it. So I have looked up for a new panel for the outer skin and I found one pretty cheap. With the safe of mind knowing that I can easily get another skin for it, it means I can just start drilling everything out. So I'm gonna start drilling into this thing and hope for the best at this point. I've got my drill, I've got my bits, I just need juice, which is what I want. Start cracking on with the job. Come back down here tomorrow and hopefully get the whole skin off the car, and then wait until I order a new one. For the time being, I'm going to try and find my juice because this is getting ridiculous. But then after that, we're going to start drilling, I guess. But alright, until then, see you in a bit. Hello again. So it is now currently much later on in the night and I am now watching Formula Drift Round 1. A lot of competition this year with an Aston Martin V12, which is pretty mad and very overdue to come to the sport, just an Aston Martin alone. Apparently there was one already, but it didn't use an Aston Martin engine, but this one does, which is, I'm pretty sure, from the Vulcan, but I'm not 100%. Anyway, obviously today didn't go as planned, really. Thing is that when I bought this van for as cheap as I did, I knew that there was going to be some sort of problems, and I was pretty sure that the brake system couldn't have been the only big issue with it. Now, as I've said, the van is actually genuinely clean. There's really not a lot of rust on the thing. The sill is not that big a deal. It's just a ton of little welds, really. Still have plenty to do on the van, so tomorrow gonna be just picking up where we left off and just getting into it, you know, because really need this van to be up and gone, and the best way that I can do that now is just having it look as good as it can be. But for the time being, I'm gonna continue watching the top 16. I'm gonna go and get some stuff for tomorrow, juice, munch, all the rest of it. And I'll see you guys there. Peace.
Yeah, yeah.